Hello people of the YouTube world and all who are watching this. I am Mackenzie901K. In today's video we are going to be once again doing a readathon, but this time it's going to be a 48-hour readathon. Katie's doing her 48-hour readathon with her Patreons. We are going to be joining. It's been a minute since we've done a readathon together, and I do love filming these videos. These are probably, honestly, my favorite types of videos to film. Anyway, let's go ahead and let's get right into the TBR because we do have quite the selection. Okay, so the first book that I picked for the readathon is going to be The 10,000 Doors of January. So pretty much what we're having to do is I will pop a picture up here. We this time have a bingo board for our readathon, which is really fun, and I'm so glad that Katie did that because I love the bingo boards. This is what the little bingo board looks like. I'm gonna try to be doing a dryologist, which is a person who studies fairies or fae. The little things you've got to do in order to become a dryologist is read a book featuring fairies, read a book with a romance, and read a book set in spring. Katie told me that this book is kind of set in spring. It's kind of sporadic because you, I believe, are following her throughout her life, but this is gonna be my pick for the book set in spring. So pretty much this book is about a girl named January, and January, she found a door, and this door, she wrote something down in her little diary. She wrote a little story, and the story came to life in the door. She opened the door and there was the story. I'm on currently chapter 2 of this book. So far so good. I am really enjoying this book. I think I'm gonna really get into it as we go on. It's definitely giving, the writing style is giving Erin Morgenstern because she writes like really flowery. The writing is definitely very flowery and fun and fluffy because the book is set in the early 1900s, so I really don't expect anything less. This is going to be for the book set in spring prompt. Then I'm going to read Lore of the Winds. This book is a fairy book. I know that the main characters are fae. I just don't really for sure know exactly what happens in this book. I know that it's supposed to be like a love triangle situation, and I kind of want to go into this book blind, but this prompt I'm going to be using for the book featuring fairies. That is this book. I'm very excited to pick this up. Here's what the back says. We'll read the back. It says, an abandoned library with a deadly enchantment, a fae lord who will do anything to get in, a brave human woman, a collector of stories, willing to risk all of it for a taste of knowledge and power. So she's human. I think these two are fae. And then finally, for the last prompt that I'm gonna read, I do have two romances here that I'm trying to decide between right now. So the first one that I have is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. The only thing I really know about this book is that there is like a time travel element, which I thought was really interesting, and it is of course a romance. And then we have The Neighbor Favor. This book was recommended by Destiny Sidwell. I seen a video of her talking about this. I don't really know a lot about this either. I just know that the main character, her name is Lily. She is a very bookish girly, and that alone, I'm intrigued. That's all the prompts that I have to do, so if I finish those prompts then I'll be done. But I also always want to throw in a manga or a graphic novel just because I feel like it really breaks things up. I don't like to, when I do these videos, read the same genre right back to back to back to back to back. So that's why we have the romance, and I'm also going to be including this little graphic novel. It's called The Sprite and the Gardener. I've actually already read this, but I've been wanting to go back through it because I loved this graphic novel last year. I think it will just be fun to go back through it. And then also I wanted to maybe possibly pick up Witch Hat Atelier. This is also a Katie recommendation. I seen her pick this book up recently. It was so cute. It's a manga, so I don't have a physical copy of it, but it is on Kindle Unlimited, so I did go ahead and pick it up, and I thought that may be a fun little read for us to do as well if we get to it. I know for sure that I definitely want to get to this, The 10,000 Doors of January, Lore of the Wilds, and One Romance. 4 books for 48 hours. I think that we can complete the TBR. That might be a little bit ambitious, but I think that we can do it. So it is past time for me to start my side of the readathon. So let's go ahead and let's get started with the 10,000 Doors of January. To give a wee bit of a reading update on the 10,000 Doors of January because I'm quite confused. I'm on page 55. So now what has happened is we are now, and this is still in the synopsis, January pretty much, it seems like, has had a rough life. Her father's never really around. She's been taken care of by this guy named Mr. Locke. She's got a dog named Bad. So she sort of kind of got this friend named Jane now, who we just got introduced to. But at this point we have been following pretty much just January throughout her life. She has had a few incidents with the doors. She's run into the doors a few times. All of that has been really intriguing. I will say this book is a little bit slower paced, but I'm not finding myself not wanting to continue it. What I read last is that pretty much we are now in this book. It's called The 10,000 Doors. It's talking about these doors. January has found this book, and now it's like that we are actually reading this book. So it's very interesting the way that this book is set up. I do like the fact that we are getting, you know, instead of just getting excerpts, we are getting the full shebang of these doors. I will say it's making the book feel like it is 10,000 years long because on page 71 is chapter 3. I've never really read a book like this before. This book is really, really unique. I'm not hating it so far. We've also, I believe, been introduced to the love interest, which is so fun. So I'm going to continue to read this book. I will give you guys an update in just a bit, but just know that so far it's okay. So it is now 1 p.m. I have a progress update on the 10,000 Doors of January. So I have been reading this book for 4 hours now. I'm currently on page 210 to 11. I honestly am quite enjoying it so far. I think that our main character, January, is a very interesting main character. I am also really enjoying the plot of the book. I really didn't think at first that I was going to like it because it is such a slow moving book. Now I'm kind of really enjoying it because it's picked up, the plot has picked up, the pacing has picked up. I'm really enjoying it now. It's definitely keeping me entertained. So I just really like the way this book is written because it is written like there's a story within a story, and that's just so intelligent. This author, Alex E. Harrow, very good author. I am quite pleased with the work that Alex has put into this book because it is so good, and I am so impressed, and I'm just really enjoying it so far, and that's really the only update that I've got. I'm enjoying the magic system that they've got with the doors. Just the writing overall is just so beautiful. I could honestly read you guys an excerpt here, or not an excerpt. I'll read you guys the first sentence. It says, "When I was 7, I found a door. I suspect I should capitalize that word so you understand. I'm not talking about your garden or common variety door that leads reliably to a white tiled kitchen or a bedroom closet. When I was 7, I found a door." with a capital D. And just that alone, just the capitalizations and things like that, the literary masterpiece that is her writing is just, it's so good. I'm obsessed. I think when I will talk to you all next is when I will have finished the 10,000 Doors of January. I want to get this book finished, and then we might do a few different things. I'm not really sure what I want to do next, because I think I want to pick up an audiobook, either of Arch Enemies or The Cruel Prince. Maybe The Cruel Prince, honestly, because I know I'm not going to be able to finish any of the audiobooks that I picked up, but I want to pick up an audiobook because I'm doing some journaling in my reading journal. I know I want to make a spread specifically because I do spreads every single time we do a readathon, and I want to do a specific spread for the readathon. That way I can have that documented down. After I finish this book, I am going to work on my reading journal for a little bit and get that spread in order. After that, I don't know. I don't even know really what book I want to pick up next. I'm kind of thinking, besides The Cruel Prince, the audiobook, I'm kind of thinking of picking up Laura of the Wilds next and then doing the romance, but I don't know. Maybe I should do the romance next, or we could do Sprite and the Gardener, but I definitely think I'm leaning more towards Laura of the Wilds. So yeah, that's all I've got for this update. I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna finish the 10,000 Doors of January, then we're gonna do some journaling. I'll talk to you guys after I finish all of this. Ending. We really got to see everything tie together. In the end, it was a really nice story. I will say my biggest complaint with the story is the pacing was really slow in the beginning, then it was picking up in the middle, and then it was really slow in the end. It was okay. I still feel very okay about it. This book really does compare to Erin Morgenstern's writing style, which, if you guys don't know, last year I fought my way through The Night Circus, but I ended up rating The Night Circus very highly. It was mostly because of the atmosphere, and that's honestly the same way I'm feeling about this book. It felt like, you know, I liked the plot and I liked the idea of the story. I liked our main character, January, but I really think my rating is going to be either a 4-star or a 3.75 to 3.5, somewhere in there. Right now I put it down as a 4-star. That may change. I'm gonna sit on it for a little bit. I like the story itself. I just felt like it dragged. I will definitely be picking up Starling House at some point. It also sounds really interesting. So that is one book done for the readathon. I also did my spread, my journal spread, which you guys seen for the readathon. So now what I think I'm going to do, because I have both of those tasks done, I think I'm going to take a little bit of a break from reading. I believe that Katie is going to do some sprints again here in a little bit. So that's probably when you guys will hear from me again, is when Katie starts her sprints again. I now want to pick up the Sprite and the Gardener just to have some mixed media in there. I'm gonna pick this up next, and then we're gonna go in to Lore of the Wilds. I just cannot wait to reread this. I have been just itching to reread this because I read it for spring last year and I absolutely loved it, and now this year I want to do the same thing. So I'm gonna go eat some dinner, then I'm gonna come back and we're gonna pick back up with some reading. I have a few minutes to kill before we go and get dinner. So let's do a little impromptu book haul, because I've had these books for a few weeks and I've just honestly been waiting for the right video to share them in. Okay, so the first 3 books that I have are all Nancy Drew books. This series is called Nancy Drew Diaries. I feel like this is a different series than the original Nancy Drew series. I really loved Nancy Drew as a kid. I read not too many of her books, but I did read a couple. I also love the Nancy Drew games. Those are so fun. I watched this girl on Twitch. Her name is Vixella, but her actual name is Sasha, and she plays the Nancy Drew games quite a bit. They're everything. I have The Haunting on Heliotrope Lane, and then I have The Secrets at Mystic Lake, and then we have Famous Mistakes. These 2 I think will be very fun for the fall time, especially this one. And I got these at the Dollar Tree. I just wanted to point that out. I got these at the Dollar Tree. Like pop off Dollar Tree. And then I actually found a little free library in my area. I was so shocked because I really didn't think that people where I live care about reading, but apparently they do, because I think there's actually a couple little free libraries here. How fun. I did pick up a couple books from there. The first one that I found was this little set of the Magic Treehouse books, another childhood series that I didn't really get super duper into, but I wanted to, so I picked this up. I think I maybe read maybe 1 or 2 of these books, but this is the first 4 books all in one, and I thought that was such a fun and lucky find. It has Dinosaurs Before Dark, The Night at Dawn, Mummies in the Morning, and Pirates Past Noon. I think it is so, so precious, and I just love collecting middle grade books. I just adore it. And then I found Finley Donovan Jumps the Gun. This is the 3rd book in the Finley Donovan series. I've never read the first Finley Donovan book, but I do own it, and I thought it would just be nice to have the 3rd book on hand. I think she is a single mom. Yes, she's a single mom, and she gets hired in the first book, I believe, to be a hit woman, and I don't really know how that comes about, but I thought originally when I got it, it was the 2nd book. It's not. It's the 3rd book, but that's okay. I'll have it on hand for whenever I start this series. And then the last book that we have is a Fairy Loot exclusive edition. This is the Fairy Loot exclusive edition of Darker by 4. This book came in the YA box for April. I have never heard of this book before, but it is gorgeous. Let me just show you guys. This is what the end pages looks like. It's got the reverse dust jacket that looks like this, and the book itself is so pretty. And then the back looks like this. I don't know why I'm really intrigued by it, but I am, and I kind of want to pick this book up soon. I don't really know what it's about, but it seems really cool. That was my little book haul. I'm very excited to have all of these books in my possession. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go eat, and then I will come back and pick up the Sprite and the Gardener. Hello. It is quite a bit later since I updated you guys. It is now currently almost 10. Okay, so the first reading update that I have is The Sprite and the Gardener. This little graphic novel. It's a 5-star graphic novel. It is so short. It is like 80 pages, but it is perfection. And I love this graphic novel, and I will be reading it next spring. So I didn't really talk about what this graphic novel is about, but honestly, you kind of just can go into it blind. It's pretty simple. We're following our little girl Wisteria, and she is a sprite, as the title entails. Pretty much sprites just don't really do anything anymore. Since the humans have come about, they don't really get to do the gardening anymore. The humans do all of that. Enter Wisteria, who still wants to do that, and that's where the story goes from there. It's a cute, sweet, short story. I'm obsessed. The next book that I am currently reading, I don't have the dust jacket. We could get the dust jacket, make it look a little bit better. Next book, current read, is Lore of the Wilds. So I am 2 chapters into this book. Honestly, I don't really think I can have any thoughts about it. So far, I'm enjoying it. I don't think I'm going to give any more updates tonight. As for right now, we're going to continue Lore of the Wilds, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Good morning. Hello. Getting ready to run out the door because we are gonna go to a little flower market this morning, and I'm gonna stop by my favorite place, aka the Little Free Library. It is right by the flower market. I am going to be packing up a book really quick because I got to run by the post office to drop off a book that somebody ordered. And also, while we're talking about this, thank you guys so much for purchasing from a few videos ago my books on Pango. I've seen you guys adding stuff to your wish list, to your carts, purchasing. You guys are the best. So if you guys are still interested, there's still plenty of books on my Pango. You guys can go check that out down below. Let's go and let's ship off this book. Hello everybody. So it is quite a bit later, and I did self-tan and I did not go back and wash it off yet. So if I look a little bit different, that's why. But anyway, I am letting my self-tan kind of soak. So it is time for an update. I actually have a bit of a reading update for you, and that is with The Cruel Prince. I am currently almost on chapter 12. I've been listening to it because I've been cleaning and, you know, doing that whole thing. So it is pretty good so far. I remember how pissed off I am at the beginning of this book at a few different characters, and if you know, you know. I don't know if we're gonna finish this book in this readathon, but it's here. It's really just here to count as some more reading. Let's see. I also made a little bit more progress in Lore of the Wilds last night, so I thought I could give you guys some thoughts. So like I said yesterday, this is following our girl Lore. So pretty much one day these fairies come to town, and Lore works in this apothecary place, and she also sells books. They buy books, and then after the fairies come and buy a book, there's like this huge devastating thing that happens, and she then decides to leave this place where she lives. She is now working in the fairy library because she made a deal with them that if she works in the fairy library, she will then be able to help her family back home with the devastation that happened. And that's pretty much as far as I've got. It's really not anything super special. I will say that it is, I mean, it's interesting and it's entertaining, but it is quite simply okay. So I'm gonna continue to read. I'll update you guys when I have a little bit more of a significant reading update. Yeah, I'll speak to you guys in a bit. Could you give me just like 2 minutes? Hello. So I really didn't think I would come back with a reading update until I finish this book, but I just want to sit down and I want to talk about my thoughts on this book because it's just putting me through the ringer. I just feel like this book so far, I'm currently on chapter 13 and I am about halfway through the book. I just don't really feel any type of attachment to these characters at all. I really thought that this book was going to be different. I just feel like this book is really basic. I just can't get behind it, and that sucks because I was really excited to pick up this book and I really thought that this book was going to be a much higher rated book and I was just going to be so excited to get through it, but I'm finding myself wanting to skim through it. It's not really keeping my attention and it's kind of boring. I'm not gonna lie, the first, we'll say 130 pages of this book were pretty boring. I still really don't feel like I feel a connection between them. Their relationship is very rushed. I think we're 3 to 4 months in of them knowing each other at this point. 3 out of 4 of those months there has not been any character development, and if you read the book you'll see what I'm talking about because something happens and there's just not a lot of character development. It's just a very okay book, so we will see if my thoughts change at all. I don't really even like the guy. Like, to be perfectly honest with you, I don't necessarily like the guy. I'm not saying, you know, this is a bad book. It's just, I think a book that's just not in the end gonna be for me, and that sucks because I really wanted to love this book, but I just don't think it's going to happen. So yeah, TBD. Right now the star feeling that I'm getting from this book is like a 3-star, and I don't really give books 3 stars very often, and the only reason that I'm giving it 3 stars is because of the plot. I'm really intrigued with what our girl main character has discovered, but that's all I'm gonna say about it for right now. I'm gonna go finish this and I will let you guys know my thoughts. Hello, I have a book update, and also my sheets are right here. Let me just mash them down a little bit because I'm getting ready to put them on my bed. I am finally finished with More of the Wilds. My thoughts from what I originally thought have changed. I still didn't love the book. However, I do think in the end I did enjoy it. I feel more of a connection now with the characters. The romance, I really didn't see it coming. Like the plot twist at the end between the romance, I really didn't see it coming. So honestly, I think that maybe bumps the book up just a little bit. It did invoke a reaction, so I say that's a win. I think I'm gonna give this book probably a 3.5 star. I originally was just gonna give it a 3, but the second half of the book, I will say, is a lot better than the first half. The romance, I just didn't love it. I think now, since reading the whole book, understand why I didn't love it. I'm trying not to be negative about this book because it was still fun. I really enjoyed the magic system in this book as well. I enjoyed our main character lore. I just really feel like this book was just too short. It felt more cozy fantasy to me. It didn't really feel like, I mean, there were high stakes, don't get me wrong. It's not really a cozy fantasy, but the vibes were cozy fantasy. That just made me so sad because, you know, I love a good cozy fantasy, but that's not what I was expecting. Like, I was setting up my own expectations just from the synopsis and the cover alone. I guess I just had my expectations wrong. That's all I've got. I don't know. I don't want to read anymore. I've read so much. I think I'm gonna pick up either The 7-Year Slip or The Neighbor Fiber. I don't know, the neighbor favorite just sounds boring right now. And the 7-year slip, all I know about it is it's got a time traveling element. So what do I want to do there? I don't know. I've got to edit my every book I've ever rated 5 stars, and you should read them. I don't know what I'm calling it yet. Right now though, I'm gonna go take a shower because this tan has been cooking for way too long. It's really dark. It's a little too dark. I'll talk to you guys when I talk to you next. I don't know when that'll be. Okay, bye. Hello everybody, good morning. It is the next morning. I didn't really read all that much last night. I mostly have been fighting with my video. It is still giving me problems. I think this is going to be the end of this vlog because I do have some final reading updates. So in this video, I fully finished a total of 3 books. I listened to a book on audio and I did start another book. So in total, we have about 5 books here that I'm going to talk about. The first one is the first book that we read in this video. This is the 10,000 Doors of January. I think I'm really going to stick with this being a 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the writing style. I just don't think that this book is super duper for me. The pacing was slow, but I really enjoyed it conceptually, and I did really like our main character. I thought she was fun, but I just didn't really enjoy this book as much as I thought I was going to. So, and then we read The Sprite and the Gardener. This is a little graphic novel and it was perfect. It definitely still gave me all the fun vibes. It's a 5-star graphic novel. I absolutely love it. It is short. It is very, very small, but it is so, so good. I am obsessed with this. Oh, and I also forgot to mention, so the prompts that we were going for really quick, I was going for I think it's dryologist. I think that's how you pronounce it. And in order to become a dryologist, you needed to read a book featuring fairies, a book with a romance, and a book set in spring. This book, I originally was going to use this one for a book set in spring. I'm going to switch this one to the prompt, a book with a romance, because there was no fae in this, but there was a little bit of a romantic subplot, so that's what I read for this one. And then of course The Sprite and the Gardener was definitely for a book set in spring. It has all the spring vibes in it. And then the last book that I picked up is Lore of the Wilds. It is a book with a fairy in it. That's what this book was for. Overall, this book, I just didn't love it. I am gonna settle with like a 3.5 star. I honestly haven't thought about this book since I finished it last night, and I can quite literally feel all the thoughts about this book leaving my brain. Was an okay book, but I just didn't really love it. So, but this was for a book featuring fairies prompt. I did listen to The Cruel Prince a little bit as well. I really love The Cruel Prince. I've wanted to do a reread of it for so long. Now that I have started re-listening to it, I really want to continue it. And then finally, I did start the 7-year slip. I'm currently on page 3. So not really much of an update. Can't really give any thoughts on this book because I literally read 2 pages. So far, am intrigued still with the premise. I think that the apartment is going to be such an interesting vibe, and I am very excited to continue this book as well. Once again, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I am very excited to continue reading this month. month. I do have some additional fun videos planned. Also, hello, Thursday upload again. I am really trying to stick to the Thursday uploads, so I hope you guys are enjoying them because I'm definitely having a fun time posting twice a week, and I feel like it gets you guys some extra content from me, so that's always so fun. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. It makes my heart smile, it helps out the channel, you know, all the vibes. Also, don't forget to tap that subscribe button as well as that post notification bell. I am now uploading on Sunday at 6 p.m. EST and Thursday at 6 p.m. EST, so you definitely don't want to miss all the fun videos. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.